This
and got
conference will now be recorded.
permanent affiliation from JNTU Anantapur. The institute has also accredited by the NAC with A+ grade. The institute registered an average of 90% placement for eligible students. On a continuous basis, we are hardly working towards the excellence in quality education research. It's very important to appreciate our management of RGMCET for giving a privilege to have a great learning platform to the faculty through webinars and FDPs, even in this difficult situation. In this regard, I would like to express my gratitude to our principal, sir, Dr. Jayachandra Prasad, sir, and the chairman, sir, Dr. M. Shantiramudu Garu. Now it's time to introduce one of the dynamic person and today's speaker, Dr. Baljit Kaur. Good morning, madam. I'm welcome to this. On the behalf of the EC department, I welcome to this FDP, madam. She received the PhD degree from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee in 2016. She is currently working as an assistant professor in NIT Delhi. She is an academic counselor member in NIT Delhi. She has published more than 10 research papers in various reputed journals and conferences. Especially, she published a paper in IEEE Transactions on Circuits and Systems on efficient ECSM characterization considering voltage, temperature, and mechanical stress variability. Her area of research interests are VLSI circuit characterization, variation aware timing model, tunnel fits, etc. Today, she will be sharing her knowledge in tunnel fit. So once again, a heartily welcome to this program to all the participants. So I hand over to session to Dr. Baljit Kaur. Madam, please, madam.
Ramesh sir.
Hello.
Ramesh sir.
Sir.
Sir, we as an organizer, please ask madam to start the session.
Actually, she left. Maybe.
Get problem.
So we'll wait for some time.
Okay.
Hello, madam. Madam, you can.
Hello.
You can. Madam, you can make the full screen and you can start the presentation.
Okay, fine. Yes, is it visible?
Yes, madam.
Ma'am, it is
The
in
slides are visible. The slides are visible to us.
Hello. Can I
Yes, madam. The
start?
slides are visible. Yes. Hello. Hello, madam.
Hello. Hello. Huh, Ramesh?
So you can start the presentation. You turn off the camera and you can start the presentation.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Turn off the camera. Yes, it is okay.
Madam, fine. We can start.
Okay, fine. Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Baljeet Kaur from NIT Delhi. So today I'm going to discuss about the transition from CMOS to tunnel fed devices. So today my topic is why tunnel field effect transistors are being researched and they are coming into the picture. So in this, during my presentation, I will be covering these topics like what is field effect transistors and what are the issues with the existing transistors and why we are moving with the new devices like tunnel fed, FinFET and other devices. So my focus is basically mainly on tunnel field effect transistors. So firstly, as we all know, what is field effect transistor? Field effect transistors are those transistors in which the current conduction is mainly based on the electric field, which is being controlled by the gate, and we are controlling the current. And this is also known as voltage control devices. So earlier, before the invention of this field effect transistor, what we were using using the BJTs. So after that, we are using this FETs. These are the voltage control devices. Why it is called voltage control devices? Because the gate terminal is controlling the current conduction between the source and drain. So there are two categories. First is JFET and other is MOSFET. So as we all know what is JFET and MOSFET. So why we are mostly using the MOSFET? Because there are so many advantages of MOSFET as compared to the BJTs. That is why most of our, I think from last 50 years, we are working on the MOSFET. Whatever we are in the semiconductor industry, we are fabricating, that is all based on the MOSFET. So now there are some issues with the devices with the MOSFET. So we are moving towards the other invention of the other devices as well as other materials. So firstly, we'll discuss about what is the basics of MOSFET. So there are some advantages and limitations of MOSFET over JFET. So as we know, MOSFET can be operated in depletion as well as in enhancement mode. And it has high input impedance because at the input for a good device, we know we want high input impedance and low output impedance. So it has this property. It is having high input impedance, and that is why it is being majorly used. So JFET are not easily scalable to the lower dimension. As we know, what is technology scaling? Technology scaling day by day, we are increasing, we are following the Moore's law, and we are scaling down the transistor size. So JFET are not so easily scalable to the lower dimensions as compared to the MOSFETs, and MOSFETs are more susceptible to the damage. As at the level of when we are talking about the fabrication, so MOSFETs are more susceptible to the damage because of the fabrication processes. So next is MOSFETs are expensive as compared to the JFET. We know that if we are talking about one NMOS or one PMOS, fabrication of one NMOS device or one PMOS devices, there are almost 16 to 17 fabrication steps are required. So which increases the cost of the device, fabrication cost of the device. So as compared to the JFET, MOSFET are expensive, and there are some other issues with the MOSFET in the nanometer design which we are following. That is, first is sub-threshold swing cannot be achieved below 60 millivolt per decade. As we know that sub-threshold swing, what is that sub-threshold swing? That we want the gate voltage, how much gate voltage you can decrease to increase the current by 1 decade. So this is known as the sub-threshold swing. So in this MOSFET device, till now we have achieved this 60 millivolt per decade. So if it can be reduced to the further, then it will be very helpful for our current conduction properties. So MOSFET is having this problem. It is having maximum, we can reduce up to 60 millivolt per decade. So next is the short channel effects. So as we are scaling down the transistor, there was no problem with the long channel MOSFET till we had reached 45 nanometer technologies. So, but when we have moved up to 45 nanometer technology or below that, we are facing some issues because the channel is getting short and there are some effects which are changing the properties of the device. So like DIBL, VTH roll-off, these are the problems majorly which we are facing, and sub-threshold leakage current is also increasing. So it is important to consider all those issues now. So what are the basics of CMOS? Why we are moving to the CMOS? First is very low static participation. As we know, the CMOS is not having any floating node. Either the output node is connected to VDD or it is connected to the ground. So there is no floating node there. Therefore, there is no direct path from VDD to ground. So we can say it is having low static participation. And next is excellent noise similarity. As we know, we have noise margins we have calculated. We are getting the high noise margin in CMOS, and it is having better noise similarity. Next is very high input impedance, as we are using the input that SiO2 layer at the gate terminal. So that is why it is offering very high input impedance. So, but there are some challenges in the continued CMOS scaling. Till now, we were scaling down, but it is not possible that we can scale up to any limit. So there are some issues which we are facing. First is increased IC power consumption. As we are increasing the transistor, that is chip density, so the IC power consumption is also getting increased. Second is keeping manufacturing cost low. So as we know that we are increasing the number of transistors, and based on that our manufacturing cost is getting increased because of more fabrication steps are involved there. So third is emerging research devices. So what are the solution to these problems? First is people are investigating the novel materials such as 3-5 semiconductors, germanium and graphene to replace silicon. And second is investigation of nanowire and carbon nanotubes, as we are all heard about. We have heard about the nanowires and CNT based FETs or CNTs. And third is the investigation of other structures such as FinFET. You have also heard about the FinFET as well as FinFET. These are the other structures which we are being researched to overcome these problems which are coming into picture of CMOS devices. So what is CMOS scaling? Technology scaling. Why we are doing this technology scaling? For cost reduction, for speed, for enhancing the speed, and for power consumption reduction. These three are the major parameters which we want to control while we are scaling down. So if we have here we can see that there is a graph showing from 1992 to 2007. So here we can say at the 1992 technology generation was 0.5 micrometer. At the 2007 it was 45 nanometer. As I told you, there was no issues till that date. We had worked on 45 nanometer technologies, but as we are scaling down beyond the 45 nanometer technology, we are facing so many issues. So we are what is the benefit of scaling? We are scaling down the transistor, as we are reducing the circuit area by divided by 2, which is good for cost as well as speed. So till now we are following the ITRS graph for any new device. Like every year there is a ITRS predictions which are being made. So if we do any new device or we do any research, we have to match that research with the ITRS results, whether our device is matching with those or not. If it is matching, then it is good. Otherwise we have to do the modifications. Like what it shows technology node, which is, as I told you, up to 2007 there was a 45 nanometer technology. So 2010 it was 32, 2013 it was 22, now it is 14, 7. All these nanometer technologies are available, but there are so many issues are there. So we can see the VDD is reduced. So here we can say from 2003 to 2005, while reducing the technology scaling, what we have used, we have strained the silicon effect we have used, and we have
Hello, Ramesh sir.
వాయిస్ రావట్లేదు సార్.
are mainly response should be increased and our delay should be less. So based on the, and as well as power should be reduced. So based on that, we can say there are, in on state, we can say tau is the swing activity. We want it as small as, so we can denote it as CG. Further question. We can improve the mobility and we can scaling down the device. Either we can reduce the or we can increase the mobility. These are the technology parameters that we can control. Then the power consumption should be ideally as small as possible. So first time that we can do reduction of high voltage, because it is that we, so we can reduce in that way, which is desirable. So what are the effects of scaling? As we know that we are scaling down the transistor day by day, and we are getting the billions of transistor on a single chips. But there are some issues with that. But what are the benefits if we in the channel? Firstly, we are getting the improved chip density. Second, we are reducing the cost. Third, we are the switching activity is getting fast, and we are getting the faster circuits. But if MOSFET dimensions are reduced further, there is some limit. As I told you, that up to 45 nanometer there is no issues. But if we are reducing the dimensions below below 45 nanometer technologies, the leakage current increases. As I told you that there are short channel effects. What is that short channel effects doing? That is, it is increasing the leakage current of the device. Power consumption is getting increased. Short channel effects are arising. So these are the major problems that we are going to reduce all these things, either in any way, by doing the channel engineering or by doing material engineering. Anything we can do. So what are the challenges with the continued CMOS scaling? First is the power consumption. We have to reduce the power consumption as the chip density is getting increased, and we know that if we will go to the market, we want to purchase a phone, then we will buy a phone which is having higher power capacity. So this is the major goal of today's any electronic devices. So power consumption should be reduced. Second is sub-threshold slope limit to 60 millivolt per decade. This is the major limitation of that CMOS. That sub-threshold slope maximum which we have reduced up to 60 millivolt per decade. But if it will be go beyond that, it will be a good. But there are some other issues also. But if we will talk about the on-state current, then it will be a good. So there should be a sustained demand for more silicon devices to provide the economical pull to Moore's law. And there is also demand of silicon based devices, because it is, as we know, that material is easily available. And if the further inventions and further research can be done in this way only to improve the CMOS, then it will be a better, as it is it is based on the predictions of Moore's law. Next is increasing IC power consumption has become bottleneck for this CMOS based devices. As I told you earlier, power consumption is getting increased, which is the major problem that we are moving to the other devices. So keeping the manufacturing cost low, especially that of lithography at the smaller device dimension. One of, as in the starting we had discussed, there are some issues with the fabrication cost also. Fabrication cost step by step, it gets increased. So major cost which affects the fabrication is the lithography. So if we can do research in such a way that we can reduce the lithography cost, then it will be a good for us for reducing the manufacturing cost. Next is power consumption. So in this graph we can say if we are reducing the gate length, so our power consumption is getting increased. Earlier, the major contribution of this power consumption is due to the leakage power. Earlier the leakage power was there, that is when we go above the 45 nanometer technologies, leakage power was also there, but that was not so significant as compared to the dynamic power consumptions. But nowadays, as we are scaling down the technology, we are noticing that leakage power is playing a dominant role because the gate is losing its control. So it is better to consider all these issues. Major issue with that CMOS is that power consumption is getting increased, because of that all the leakages. So what is the desired switching behavior of MOS? What we want that switching time should be reduced. Switching time should be reduced, or we can say it should be there should be a fast switching. So here we can see in that graph, as you are reducing the we are scaling down the transistor, threshold voltage is also scaling down. So we are reducing the threshold voltage, but on the other side our I of current is also getting increased, which is the major drawback. I of is that leakage current, which I told you, because of that power consumption and power consumption that is getting increased. So if we are reducing, if we have pictures, so we can see this the leakage current by 60 millivolts, how severely affecting the device. Next is switching behavior of MOS. So here in this picture we can say ideally we want that at the zero transition time, it should be switched on. But ideally, as we can see from slope is no MOSFET, it is taking the not so steep as compared to the tunnel FET. Small slow steep as possible. So the new devices we are CMOS. We have also heard about nanowire and carbon nanotubes, and then FinFET, IMOS, impact ionization based MOSFET, and then tunnel field effect transistors. These are all the new devices which are coming into the picture, and the research is going on. And we will see the problem with that is with all the devices is that they are controlling the short channel effects, but they are not getting the on current as compared to the they are not getting the on current equal to that MOS device. So that is why still the research is going on. So this is a tunnel FET device. What is the tunnel FET? Why it is called tunnel FET? Tunnel FET is basically a reverse biased pin structure, that is p-type source, intrinsic intrinsic layer is there, and then n plus drain. So here we can say for n-type structure and for p-type structure, how do we define that which is n-type TFET? It is mainly depends upon the type of the drain. If the drain is n-type, then the structure is called as n-type TFET. If it is p-type, then it is called as p-type TFET. And we can see that why it is called tunnel FET, because the current which is flowing through it, it is all due to the BT tunneling. That is when you see the BT happening, just due to which the current conduction is possible. So this is the operation of n-type TFET. Here we can say off state TFET, and this is on state. The energy band diagram is shown here. This is for the n-type TFET, off state and on. Here we can see the off state, the BTT. This is the band bending occurs. So if we will increase the voltage at the drain side, so the further the band will come down and the current conduction will be possible. As we know that what is that band to band tunneling? The electron from that valence band directly move to the conduction band of the another that is the conduction band of the because of moving to the conduction band of they are moving to the side or conduction, so it is happening. So in off state not happening, so we can say that it is moving from this side to this side, which is making the current conduction possible. So likewise this is the operation of p type, and here in p type the holes are moving and holes are making that BT tunneling,
Excuse
and
me,
because
madam,
of that
what is
current
that?
conduction is happening.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes,
Actually,
yes.
can you open that slide number 16 again? 16.
16, this thing,
Yeah. So
this one.
whenever you are explaining these things, your voice is actually having some disturbance. So that's why we are unable to understand the proper operation of tunnel.
Okay, no problem. Here just I am showing the energy band diagram, how in the
So in between
offset,
your
offset
voice
it
is
will
discontinuing, madam. It is discontinuing maybe because of the network issue. So can
now
you
it
repeat,
is
repeat this
okay or
operation
it is
again?
now my voice is okay, audible.
Your voice is audible, but it is discontinuing something because of the network issue maybe.
Okay,
Your voice
should
is
I
audible actually.
reconnect or I should continue?
So your network is fine? Is there any issue with the network?
Yeah, network is fine. There is no issue with the network.
Can you plug the earphones properly? Can you replug the earphones properly?
Can I reconnect?
Ah.
Okay, please.
Sir, please make a MBR in mute mode. Chandrasekhar sir. MBR.
7 minutes, man.
Ah.
Muted it.
So you mute up. So madam is actually reconnecting the network. So we'll wait for 5 minutes.
Hello,
Yes, madam.
is it okay now?
Now it is okay. You start from
Yeah.
slide number 16.
Okay, okay. So here I am just showing the energy band diagram of off-state and on-state TFET. Rest how it is coming into the picture that I will explain in the coming slides. So here you can see in that off-state the band is not bent. This is the energy band diagram of P side, this is intrinsic layer, and this is the N type semiconductor. So here we can say it is not bent. So as we are not providing any gate voltage and we are not providing any drain voltage, so it is off state. So in opposite to that, you can see in on state, as we are applying the gate as well as drain voltage, we can see that band has been bent at the P side source. So the electron will directly move from valence band to the conduction band of N side. So this is BT-BT tunneling, which is because of that BT-BT, the current is happening in that tunnel FET. So this is the P type T-FET. Here we can say in that N type, the current conduction was possible due to the electron. Here the holes are performing that BT-BT tunneling. So holes are moving from this conduction band of N type source to the valence band of this P type. So directly they are moving, and because of that, the current conduction is taking place. So how it is happening, that I will explain in the next slides. So we can see tunnel FET versus MOSFET. It is tunnel FET works on the principle of transfer of charge carriers through the barrier instead of over the barrier. So this is the cross-sectional view of MOSFET. This is the T-FET. So in this, the energy band diagram is showing here. We can see. No, this is not the energy band diagram. This is just the cross-sectional view. According to that cross-sectional view, we are doing the cutting, and that at that place we are looking at the energy levels. So here in this MOSFET, we can say this green arrow is showing that current conduction is happening here. Carriers are moving here. Likewise, in tunnel FET, we can see the carriers are moving through the band. So this is the main difference in the current mechanism of tunnel FET and the MOSFET. It is crossing over the barrier and it is crossing through the barrier. So this is a CMOS structure, N-type MOS structure, and this is N-type T-FET structure. This is, as I told you, this is T-FET is a pin type structure. So here in CMOS, there are some pros and cons for both the devices. For CMOS, it is a classical devices ion within ITRS target. What the ITRS has target every year, that is CMOS is accomplishing all the targets. So that on the other side, the power consumption is getting increased due to all the leakages. So it is becoming a bottleneck for this CMOS devices. So for T-FET, what is the pros? That is extremely low IOF. It is the advantage of T-FET is that IOF is very low, which is making it better as compared to the CMOS. On the other side, the problem with that tunnel FET is that it is having low ion as compared to the MOSFET. So R&D is needed to increase the on current of the tunnel FET devices. And on the other side, tunnel FET is having one more advantage as compared to the CMOS. It is having sub-threshold swing below that 60 millivolt per decade, which we were requiring for the CMOS, but in the CMOS we were getting up to 60 millivolt. But in tunnel FET, below that range, it is also possible. So this is the tunnel FET operation. Here you can see this is the energy band diagram. Here we are showing that this is VG is equal to 0 volt. We are applying gate voltage 0 volt and drain voltage 1 volt. So here we can see the band bending is occurring, but the bands are not so close that the direct band-to-band tunneling may happen. So as we will increase the VG, so we will see how the band bending is happening and BT-BT is occurring. Yes, this is the VG is equal to 0 volt, that is energy band diagram. This is when we have applied gate voltage as well as drain voltage, and we are getting the band has been bent in such a way that direct carrier movement is possible through the bands. So tunnel FET is also
Madam,
an
how you
ambipolar device.
perform the simulations actually? How you perform the simulations?
It is some Silvaco device.
From which tool?
Silvaco TCAD.
The Silvaco TCAD. So
Yeah.
can we download the software? Is there any open source available?
Yeah, it is available. Crack
So it
version
is
is
a-
also available. You can get crack version.
So, but we cannot use it officially, right? We cannot publish the papers or even only for the simulation purpose we can use the cracks.
Yeah, yeah.
If we simulate
But
the
there are
paper, then
some problems with that crack version, because it is we don't have access to all the materials which are available in that tool with crack version.
so
Whereas
any
in the
any, any
paid version,
student versions maybe for 30 days trial like that. Is there any facility like that? For
no,
30
for
days.
full version trial, full version trial, there is not possible. They are not offering.
So in your institute, do you have the license for Silvaco TCAD?
Yeah, we have.
Okay, fine. Fine, madam. Thank you.
That is tunnel FET is a ambipolar device. What is that ambipolarity? As we are, we know that when NMOS works, when we apply the 1 volt at the gate voltage. This is just an example. We apply some positive voltage to the N type transistor, then it works. But if we change the polarity of that voltage, then still some current flows at the TFET. So this is a major drawback of that TFET device, that ambipolarity is there. Because of that ambipolarity, we cannot use it in any circuit, like as we were doing a MOS in a CMOS, we are using N and P type together. So here in that, it is not able to work individually as a PMOS, full complete PTFET and full complete that complete N type TFET. So which is the major drawback. So people are also working on that, how its ambipolarity can be reduced. So this is the transfer characteristics of tunnel FET. Here it is divided into the 3 regions. As we know, in that MOSFET there were 3 regions. That was cutoff state, linear region, and saturation region. But in tunnel FET, these are off state, subthreshold region, and super threshold region. How do we define the off state? Off state we can define when the current starts to increase. We are plotting the drain current versus gate voltage graph. We are raising the gate voltage, and we will see when the current starts to increase, that point is known as V off point. And after that, how do we decide the threshold voltage point, VT? As in that is MOS, we know that when the strong inversion occurs, we say it is a threshold point. But in this TFET device, we have 2 methods. Here I am talking about only one, that is how to decide VT. That is when the current value has reached up to 10⁻⁻7 ampere per micrometer, then we can say it has reached to the VT level, threshold voltage. So this is the second region, is the subthreshold region, where the current flows from that is V off to VT point, that is known as subthreshold region. And after that, super threshold region, that is beyond the VT point, the entire region is known as super threshold region, up to what range you apply the gate voltage. Like in our case, we have applied up to 1.5 volt. So up to that 1.5 volt range, this is a super threshold region. Yes, there are some in this we can see BT current conduction is also occurring here, and there is some small current is flowing, I therm, that is thermionic emission. Due to thermionic emission, I therm is also flowing, which is mainly depends upon the energy band, that is energy band gap. So if we reduce the band gap energy that we can choose when we are selecting any material at the time of choosing a material in a device, we can choose what type of device properties we want, device properties we want. Based on that, we can choose and what will be the energy band and band gap energy for that material. So if the band gap energy is reduced, that thermionic emission is possible, as we know that I therm is proportional to the exponential of minus Eg by n into kT. So it is mainly the main factor which is making it possible is the Eg. So if we increase the Eg, then it will be I therm will be less, and if we decrease the Eg, we choose a material in such a way that Eg is reduced, then I therm will be play a significant role here. So this is all about the, as I told you, there are three regions: off state, subthreshold, and super threshold. This is all the how which voltage we are applying, and how this what is happening in that subthreshold swing, and what is happening in that subthreshold region and super threshold region. So in that subthreshold region, we are mainly focused to find about the subthreshold swing that we have discussed till now. That in MOSFET, it is we are reaching up to 60 millivolt per decade, but here we are getting less than 60 millivolt. So how we are calculating in the subthreshold region? So this is the formula which the people are generally using. That is VT minus V of. These are the 2 points at the x-axis, 2 points at the y-axis. Based on that, we are finding that subthreshold swing. So here we can see the threshold voltage. As I told you, the people are referring the point because there is no direct formula how to calculate the threshold voltage in that tunnel FET. We are just looking at the current when it reaches to 1 into 10 raised to power minus 7 ampere per micrometer at VDS is equal to VDD, then we can say it is the threshold voltage. This is the super threshold region, in which we can say the current. This is the major characteristic of the tunnel FET device comes into this region only, super threshold region, because in that the current is, as in MOSFET we know that the current is maximum, that current we are getting 10 raised to power minus 6, but here we are not reaching up to that limit. So this is the, we can almost assume that it is equal to the VT 10 raised to power minus 7, but we are getting at the VT 10 raised to power minus 7 ampere per micrometer. So if we can increase the current equal to the MOS device, then we can replace the MOS with the tunnel FET device. So people are working on that thing also, how we can improve the things happening in the super threshold regions. So as I told you, there are different ways to calculate the threshold voltage in tunnel FET. One I told you, that is constant current method, which mostly people are using, and other is the transconductance change method. Transconductance method that we use to that is find out the threshold voltage in that MOS, that is same here. Through the graph, IDVG graph, we find out the transconductance, and from that graph we find out the VT. Some people are using that transconductance method, and mostly our people are using constant current method. That is when the current will reach up to 10 raised to power minus 7 value at VDS is equal to VDD, then we can say that gate voltage is represented as threshold voltage. So there are different types of tunnel FETs. First is on the basis of gate structure, like single gate tunnel FET is also there, double gate tunnel FET is also there, gate all around tunnel FET is there. And on the basis of source junction, there are homo junction, hetero junction. And on the basis of different semiconductor materials, like people are doing the material engineering, silicon, they are using silicon material, germanium material, carbon 3,5 semiconductor materials, nanowires, CNTs and graphenes for making this BT more stronger, more effective. So this is the tunneling current equation, that is on current equation which is happening in that tunnel FET. So here we can see that Eg plays an important role, effective band, effective carrier mass. This is the range of energy over which tunneling takes place. and relative permittivity and thickness of the silicon body as well as the thickness of gate oxide respectively. So what are the challenges with the TFET? As I told you that on current is not so high as it is in MOS. So low ion current is the problem with the TFET. Ambipolar conduction, which is undesirable. We don't want to occur in that any way. So poor RF performance. What are the RF parameters are required? So it is not getting good results as compared to the MOSFET, and complex fabrication of advanced structures, because as we know CMOS, the simplicity of CMOS MOS device is also that the device is called as symmetric device, because N and P both are using the same type of doping, but here it is N and P both are different. P or N as it is pin structure, so it makes the fabrication complex, little bit complex. So there are some techniques to boost an on-state current. People are working on that, how to increase the on-state current. So first is the gate engineering and tunnel junction engineering, material engineering. In gate engineering, what they are doing, they are decreasing the gate oxide thickness or increasing the dielectric constant of that gate oxide. So both of the things they are trying, or they are merging the two techniques, and based on that two techniques they are improving the on current. Then they are doing the decrease the silicon body thickness. They are reducing the silicon body thickness to enhance the on current. They are using the material with the lower effective carrier mass and smaller band gap. As I told you earlier, if we reduce the band gap, so the current conduction can be increased. So they are also using the material which is having low EG, low band gap energy. And tunnel junction, they are also applying the tunneling junction engineering. The junction which is at which the tunneling is happening, they are doing some engineering at that junction to improve the BTBT. And then material engineering, that they are using different materials. Like in MOS, we generally use silicon material, but here they are using source side and another material, drain side another material, to improve that tunneling. So in that gate engineering, as I told you, there are different things they are doing. Gate oxide thickness, multiple gates, double gate all around structure they are using. Spacer engineering they are using. They introduce a spacer between gate, near the gate, which enhance the tunneling efficiency. Asymmetric gate structures they are using. Quality of gate oxide, they are using the different type of qualities of gate oxide to enhance the on current. So in junction engineering, what they are doing source doping, and they are increasing the tunneling area. They are doing the source and channel materials, different type of materials they are using, so that the tunneling can be increased. Then heterojunction
Hello, madam. Do you hear me? Hello. Hello. So madam is in offline now. We will wait for the connection. She is reconnecting to the network. You will please wait.